Well, I'm so glad that we've arrived at this lesson today because this is really what most people think of when they get interested in learning how to play the guitar. We're going to talk today about some basic chords. Now, as you're learning the guitar, there's a lot of different elements to it. There's the strengthening of the hand, the positioning of things, individual notes, picking, sometimes using your fingers. There's a lot of different things to learn. Tuning, restringing, all stuff that if you look back at some earlier lessons you can learn about. Today, though, we're going to learn about the most probably common thing people think of when they think of the guitar, and that is playing chords. So when we think about playing chords, you want to think, first of all, if your guitar is in tune according to the proper tuning, E, A, D, G, B, E, from the lowest to the highest, or going backwards from the highest to the lowest, E, B, G, D, A, E. If those are in tune, then the positions that I'm going to show you and that you'll see the charts for and everything will actually make perfect sense. So the key is that your guitar has to be in tune. Now, the first chord that I want to show you is the most common chord ever used with the guitar. That is the G major chord, G. To make the G chord, you need to be able to think about the third fret. So wherever your marker dot is at, or if I have a little bird there on mine, but the third fret is the key. And you're wanting to make sure that you squeeze off each string that is part of this chord right, you want to pinch it right against that metal fret so that the sound really rings right from that note. If you're not pinching it hard enough, you're going to get sounds like this. That means you're not pinching hard enough. If you're pinching right on top of it, you might get okay, but it's muted. If you're too far down, again, you're going to get more of that buzzy sound. So you want to pinch it right up there against it, and this is going to mean that your fingers are really going to feel it. So you're going to use, again, think about the 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the fingers that we're going to use here. So we're going to begin with finger 2, the middle finger, and it's going to be pinched off right on that third fret. Now finger 1 is going to go on the next string down, the A string, and you're going to pinch it off on the second fret. So if I put those two together, and you've seen this pattern before in some of your exercises, I think. I was using my thumb instead of my pick. So you can use a pick with this lesson today, or if you want to just use your thumb at first, you can. Here's the thumb, here's the pick. Adds a little sound to it, okay? Now, what we're gonna do next is we're gonna leave the D string and the G string open, which means that they just are automatically pinched off right here at the nut. So you can see that makes a nice, pleasant chord. That's a G chord. Now, for the last two strings with the pattern I'm going to show you, I'm going to use your fourth finger, it's your ring finger, but finger 3 and finger 4. You're going to use these two fingers side by side on the third fret. So they're going to be pinching off right here and here. Now, I'm going to say something that's important. As you're starting to work with chords, you need to make sure that your fingernails are trimmed back. If your fingernails are too long on your fretboard hand, usually if you're playing right-handed, it's going to be that left-handed, then you're not going to be able to effectively pinch using your skin. That nail is going to get in the way. So just a heads up, you're going to want to make sure that your fingernails are properly trimmed. You're going to pinch off against that B string on the third fret and that E string on the third fret. So when I put all those together, 3, 2, open, open, 3, 3, and those numbers, again, are fret numbers, or, refer to the frets. So fret 3, fret 2, open string, fret 3, and I'm using finger 2, 1, and then open, 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 and then I'm using finger 3 and finger 4. And what that does when you play it all together is it creates the G chord. Now to get that sound, you have to be pinching it off right. So the place where your thumb comes in becomes very important. If you're trying to play this and you're bringing that thumb up around too much, you might be making a strong pinch, but that is not going to be helpful. You want that thumb to be, let me see if I can get it in the camera, you want it to be right behind kind of where everything is at. I don't put my thumb up high, I don't put my thumb down low. You want it to be right behind, right in the middle of the neck, just so you can create a nice tight bond. Now, if you're holding your guitar too much like this, you can see what happens. Your wrist gets bent and you'll feel that pressure all through the twisted arm. That's not good. That's why I always hold it like this. And sometimes I put my left leg, the leg that's underneath the fretboard arm, up on my other foot, and I set it like that. All right, now this arm comes in, there's your G major chord. Now, play that a little bit. And you can kind of loosen up on it to get so you can kind of press in and you can kind of create that kind of a chugga chugga sound as you go. That's the G major chord. Now, with your fingers, you can play, and again, we don't use our pinky in the style that I'm teaching, but the P-I-M-A, you can kind of So I'm using these 3 fingers, the index, the middle, and the ring finger, to just pull up on those high 3 strings, and the thumb is moving from the low string, and then the A string, the D string, the back to the A, da, 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 da. That's just thumb pluck, thumb pluck, thumb pluck, thumb pluck. I'm just alternating back and forth. And as I do that, I'm just, you can watch my fingers here. There's not a lot of this. I'm not really doing this with it. I'm not doing anything weird. It's just the hand is pretty stable. But all of this will go wrong and will sound bad if your fingers aren't able to hold tight onto that chord. And this is where you're gonna struggle if you're new to making chords. Everybody struggles. What ends up happening is you end up sounding like this. And what's going on? Well, what's happening is that your fingers here aren't pinching tight against those frets. So moving them up and pinching them off really tight and not muting the strings. So you see how this has to curve over. If this finger here, which is finger number 2, is touching the A string instead of just that one string, it's going to mute it. So listen. Hear how that note doesn't really sing? That's because finger 2 is touching it. So I have to keep finger 2 curved and off it so that so pinching it tight. So that becomes our first pattern. Now, the next chord we're going to learn is so similar because it's right next door. All you're going to be doing is moving fingers 2 and 3, or 1 and 2, I'm sorry, just next door to one another. These fingers 3 and 4, are going to stay put for now. So this is G, and now we just move these next door, and we start on the A string. That is a kind of C major chord. I say a kind. It's technically a C add 2. You're adding a D into that chord as you make it. And I don't want to get too into music theory right now about that, but it makes a pretty sound. Back to G. that C chord, I end up just using these two fingers on just the highest two notes. As I get up there, and then right here, I'm just working with 3 strings. So I go thumb and then just these two. So those are a couple ways that you can explore that. Now, even as I'm showing this to you, and I've been playing guitar for many, many, many years, I can tell you right now, just looking at my fingers, they are very creased. They hurt me. So yours are going to hurt you a lot on this because you're trying to make your hand do things and press on things that are very unnatural. The more you do it, the less it will hurt. But for the short term, you're going to have to put up with some hurt. So G, C. Now there's one more chord I'm going to teach you in this first lesson on chords, and that chord is D. So the D chord is played on just the low 4 strings, open D, and then you use finger 1 on the 2nd fret of the G string. You're going to use finger 3 on the 3rd fret of the B string, and you're going to use finger 2, your middle finger, on the 2nd fret of the high E. So open D, that is the D chord. What's nice about the D chord is that you can put your pinky down on the 3rd fret, you get that little wide open, and then you can lift the pinky up. And you can lift up finger number 2, the middle finger, and then let that E ring open. You get that sound. I used to love this when I was first learning guitar. I thought it was the most beautiful thing. So you can play around with that a little bit, but these become the 3 most basic and most used chords, really, I think, in all songwriting is G, C, back to G. Now we'll go to D. Now, what you do with your pick is an interesting problem when you're first starting the guitar. After a while, after you've been playing lots and lots and lots of guitar, you don't think about what you do with your pick. But at the beginning, it'll be helpful for you to have a strum pattern that you use consistently for everything. So what I'm going to do is create a very simple strum pattern. So we're going to go down, 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 up, down, 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 down. So that down, 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 up, down, down is going to be your rhythm for everything. And the reason you want to think about something very basic is so that you don't have to think about it. You want it to be something that you can just repeat over and over and over again, so then you can think about what you're doing with your fingers on those chords. So a play along, this is how we'll end this lesson, and if you'll practice and do a play along, you'll be able to do this. So we're going to go G for 2 full measures. So we're going to count 4, or we're going to count 4. We're going to go C for 2 full measures. And then we're going to go back to G. And then we're going to go up to D. That's going to be our circle, and we're just going to repeat it. Down, 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 up, down, down. Here we go. Starting on G. 1, 2, 3, 4. G, G, G. Down, up, down. Now we're going to switch to C. Back to G. Down, 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 up, down, 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 down. And we're going to go to D. cycle again. Down, up, down, 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 up, down, down. Now, if you're using your fingers, you can pluck like this. Down, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's the beginning of everything. Now, so much of what you learn on the guitar is going to be based around these chords. Even when you're using other chords in a song, you'll find that these become the basic chords. For example, you can do Amazing Grace with these chords. Amazing Grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now am found. Was blind, but now I see. You can do a lot more different styles with it. And I'm just using a little bit of pumping like we did in our exercise, and I'm just using those alternating things. Lots of little things that you can do as you kind of play around with it, but those chords become really the focus of so many songs. Okay, so go back through this, watch it a few times, practice, and realize at the beginning, everything's going to sound about like this. You're going to be like, oh man, I can't play the guitar, and it's because the pinching's a problem, the rhythm is a problem. What you want to do is keep practicing, keep going through until you can make your guitar sound a lot like the basic play-along portion of this video, okay? Keep going. Every one of these lessons that you've been learning with exercises in, you want to keep doing them. Keep doing them. All we're doing is we're adding to. We're never deleting things. We're continually adding to. Okay. Keep going.